Hey, this is Julie at Love's Beginning, and today I have a talk called Prior to the Raging of Appetites. I received the outline for this, several days ago, and so it's going to be a surprise to me because I kind of forget what it's about. So I don't know what I'm talking about yet, but we'll see. So the first statement is, wherever you feel tension or disquiet, there is some compartmentalization in the mind that can be undone now. Yeah, and I see this. I have boxes and definitions. I think my boxes and definitions and compartments keep me safe, keep things orderly. And whenever I feel that tension, that resistance seems to be made up of a thought from ego. And I think by holding this thought, I will stay safe. So these thoughts from ego, that ego has told me are essential to my safety. That would be my safety as a separate one, instead of my safety in the wholeness I am with you. I feel that, and so I have the opportunity to give those thoughts up. As I give those thoughts up, the compartments dissolve, and that creates more space for loving thought, joyful thought to flow through me, less resistance, gradually. Because as I uncover resistance, I realize, oh my goodness, it is absolutely everywhere. And that's okay, because the remedy's here today, and the edge of that resistance can melt and melt and melt and melt. That's what a day is for. And when I'm seeing others out there, either as wrong or as in resistance, that's just my own resistance peeping back at me, saying, hey, this is a picture of your mind. And as I assign that resistance to somebody else, saying, well, that one sure is resistant, then I decline the opportunity to let my resistance go today. I decided to find it in somebody else instead of recognizing it in myself and owning up to it and saying, here's a thought representing that. I'll give this to you, Spirit. And then I can thank the one who showed up resistant to me, because they were showing me the mirror that said, hey, it's time to go to work on something right now. So instead, I could just thank everyone and go to work whenever I get the directive to go to work, which is a lot every day. And I get better at heeding the signal to go to work. Wherever you feel stressed, there are these little doors in the mind that represent where you believe you need to hold spirit back to handle things yourself as a separate self. This means you are believing ego thought that there are things you need to handle, and you are identifying as that self who is the handler. So this is about turning over control from the posture of holding control to oneself as a false self, to surrendering to the whole self that we really are, and allowing that whole self to handle it all and following the directives that seem to come from that whole self. And the guide in all this is, how do I feel? If I don't feel good, I'm attempting to follow my false self, and thank goodness it feels bad. And as I go along, I'm less and less able to lie to myself. I will feel bad when I'm following that false self, and I am less and less able to make it about you or the world or a condition, to say to myself, the reason I'm feeling bad is because of this condition, or because of the world out there, or because there's something wrong with you and you're causing me to feel not good. I'm less and less able to buy that lie. It's a lie every time. It's always about my attachment to my own resistance. So there's always that same opportunity to take a look at it and let it go. When you feel the feeling of wanting things for oneself, you can stop. You can go into that neediness. The neediness is an identity that the ego constructed for you. And when you feel it, it's when you have accepted it as yourself. From here, you can find one thought attached to that feeling of neediness. You can let that thought go. So what? It's just beginning. It's just beginning to look at appetites for, lots of different appetites, but the two that are being highlighted are food and sleep. Drugs, essentially. I'll reach out for food and sleep as drugs. Oblivion. And now it's being highlighted for me. For a long time I was guided away from. Try to control the food. Try to figure out what's healthy. Try to eat healthy. Try to not eat unhealthily. I was guided away from all of that. And that helped a lot. But now it feels I'm really being guided to look at the appetite. I need this. I need this for myself. If I don't get it, I'm not okay. I'm anxious. I'm fatigued. I'm exhausted. And the same with sleep. I need this for myself. I have to get away from you. I have to withdraw from you. I have to rest. The withdrawing into the separate self. So this is really being challenged. And I think this has been a big crutch for me. So at the same time, I feel relieved that we're finally getting here. I also feel threatened because I've built my identity out of thoughts around these two issues, and I don't even fully know what these thoughts are. These are the thoughts I've been hiding for a long time. They're just popping up. So I think probably a lot of us are getting to these core issues, whatever they are for us. We don't even actually know what the egoic thoughts are that we've been holding on to. And it seems to have constructed our lives. And now we have to let them pop up and let them go. And if I try to construct a surface of my life that's in alignment with, eating that's sane or kind or healthy, it's just another layer of frosting. I can't do that. I can't try. But I can find the thoughts that are blocking love. All the tension thoughts. All the thoughts that support the raging of appetites. And I can let those go. Okay. Then the raising of thought about various appetites dies down. You can look at appetites as an observer. And this is starting to happen. In fact, I didn't recognize this for quite a while. I've been able to look at my appetite for love and approval and attention as an observer and to work with that a lot. And now it really seems like I'm looking at the appetite. I'm still looking at the appetite for recognition, appetite for approval. I'm still looking at that. But now it seems like they're saying next candidates are appetite for food, appetite for sleep. and the ego is like, no, don't do it. So that's how I know it's a really good idea to do it. And I'm happy to be here where I can, like the next appetite can step up and I can look at that. Okay, so look at the appetite for false peace, for relative peace. You believe you need peace within a world, and you believe you know what will give you that peace, like a piece of chocolate. If I eat this, the raging in my mind is going to be temporarily quiet. It's worth like 7 seconds of quieting the raging in my mind. So I'll pop that chocolate in my mouth. And I didn't know about that before. I didn't know. Now I can feel it. Okay, let's see. You believe you need peace within a world, and you believe you know what will give you that peace. Then you may go after it. You are the peace that is here always. Peace is not relative. When you are still, you can remember the peace that you are. And I think it was important for me to come at it this way instead of just trying to control eating, for example. that's just suppression. I wouldn't have faced the thoughts that I'm facing now. I don't think in the same way. If I see my separate self as triumphing and saying, well, I have finally controlled eating to a place where I can look at what I'm eating and say that's okay, instead of that's not okay. But at times in my life where it seems I have controlled the eating into that space, it seemed also a requirement that I look out at the world and judge anyone doing it differently as misguided. So I've become so tired of my judgments of others that I can't do that. That won't give me any peace. But going through it from the angle of finding the tense thoughts, the thoughts from ego, and letting those go, I can do that. Yeah, I can't try to change behavior because it seems so futile and fails every time. But I can look at the thoughts. I can let the thoughts go. And I can allow thoughts to arise to the surface that I've hidden for a very long time. Even though it feels threatening, it feels like the means I've been using to get relative peace, to essentially withdraw into my separate self and call that peace, the ways I've been drugging myself, those aren't going to work anymore. So I'm going to have to find the real alternative. I'm going to have to rest in actual peace, and that I'm much more able to see that if I ask to see you as you truly are when I look at you instead of making judgments about you. Then that gives me a vast, calm pool of actual peace to rest in. That's when my habit of seeking relative peace can really be exposed. And all these thoughts about relative peace, withdrawing into a separate self through sleep or food, that can really be exposed. It can come up to the surface and I can let those go. So that's where I am right now. Wishing you well and wishing you peace. Thanks.